Living with him felt real, but something didn't add up. A poor delivery girl gave away her last meal to a homeless old man on a cold, rainy night, never knowing someone powerful was watching. By the next morning, her life had already begun to change, pulled into a world of money, secrets, and a truth that would turn everything upside down. Rain fell in thin, steady lines over the Bronx, turning the cracked pavement into a mirror of blurred yellow light. The old bus stop on East Tremont Avenue flickered like it was struggling to stay awake, its rusted metal bench slick with water and forgotten gum. Cars rushed past in a constant stream, tires hissing against the wet road, splashing dirty water onto the curb. Maya Carter pulled her jacket tighter around her body as she slowed her electric bike beneath the weak shelter of the bus stop. Her phone buzzed sharply against the handlebar mount, lighting up her face with a cold blue glow. Order canceled. She stared at the screen for a long second, her lips parting slightly, as if the words might rearrange themselves if she just waited long enough. But they didn't. The customer had canceled. Again. A soft, tired breath escaped her. Not anger, not even surprise. Just that quiet, familiar kind of disappointment that settled deep in her chest like it belonged there. Maya reached back and opened the insulated delivery bag. Inside sat a neatly packed meal, still warm, the scent of grilled chicken and rice drifting faintly into the damp air. It was supposed to be someone else's dinner. Now it was hers. Her stomach tightened at the smell, reminding her she hadn't eaten since early morning. She glanced at the time, nearly 10 at night. "All right," she murmured to herself. "You made it through the day. That counts." The rain picked up slightly, tapping against the plastic roof above her. Somewhere down the street, a bus roared past without stopping. No one was waiting for it anyway. Maya stepped off her bike and sat carefully on the edge of the bench, balancing the food container on her knees. Her fingers were stiff from the cold as she peeled back the lid. Steam rose gently into the night. For a moment, everything slowed. The noise, the rain, the weight of the day pressing down on her shoulders, it all faded just a little. This was it, her last meal. Before she could take a bite, a sharp voice cut through the quiet. "Hey! You can't stay there!" Maya looked up instinctively. Across the street, under the bright fluorescent glare of a small bakery, a man in a stained apron stood in the doorway, waving his arm aggressively. In front of him stood an older man, thin, hunched, his coat too light for the weather. His gray beard was damp, his hands trembling slightly as he held onto a worn wooden cane. "I just asked for bread," the old man said, his voice soft but steady. "And I said no," the shop owner snapped. "No money, no food. Move along. I told you, my grandson is coming. He will pay." "I've heard that story 100 times," the man interrupted, stepping forward. "Go. Before I call someone." The old man didn't move. For a second, something quiet passed between them. Pride, maybe, or dignity refusing to bend. Then the shop owner reached out and shoved him. It wasn't a violent push, but it was enough. The old man stumbled backward, his cane slipping slightly on the wet sidewalk. His body tilted, unsteady, before gravity took over. Maya was already on her feet. She didn't remember crossing the street, didn't remember leaving her food behind on the bench. One moment she was sitting, the next, "Sir." She reached him just before he hit the ground, grabbing his arm and steadying him. The cane clattered beside them, echoing against the pavement. "I've got you," she said quickly, her voice firm despite the rush in her chest. "Easy. Easy." The old man looked at her, surprised, his breathing uneven. "I'm fine," he insisted, though his grip on her sleeve tightened slightly. Maya helped him sit on the low concrete step beside the bakery. Rain dotted his coat, darkening the fabric in uneven patches. She turned her head sharply toward the shop owner. "You didn't have to push him," she said. The man scoffed. "He shouldn't be begging in front of my store. He said someone was coming to pay. And I said, I don't care." Maya's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue further. She'd learned a long time ago that some people didn't listen. They just waited for their turn to talk. Instead, she turned back to the old man. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head slowly. "No. No, my daughter. Just old bones." Maya exhaled softly, then glanced back across the street, to the bus stop where her food still sat on the bench. Warm, waiting. Her stomach twisted again. She hesitated, just for a second. Then she stood up without a word and jogged back through the rain. She grabbed the container, closed the lid carefully, and returned to the old man. He looked up as she approached. "You didn't have to," he began. Maya held out the food. "Yes, I did." He blinked at her, surprised. "I was going to eat it," she admitted with a small shrug. "But you need it more than I do tonight." The old man stared at the container like it was something unreal. "My grandson. He'll still come," Maya said gently. "But you don't have to wait hungry." For a long moment, he didn't move. Then slowly, almost carefully, he took the food from her hands. His fingers trembled slightly. "Thank you," he said, his voice quieter now. "Many people passed me today. Many people saw me." Maya gave a small, tired smile. "Yeah," she said. "That happens." She sat beside him as he opened the container. The steam rose again, warmer this time, cutting through the damp cold of the night. He took a bite, closed his eyes, and for just a second, the lines on his face softened. "What is your name?" he asked. "Maya." He nodded slowly, repeating it under his breath as if committing it to memory. "Maya," he said again, "you have a kind heart." She let out a quiet laugh, shaking her head. "Kind doesn't pay rent," she said, "but it helps me sleep at night." The old man looked at her, something thoughtful passing through his eyes. "Sometimes," he said, "it pays in ways you don't see yet." Maya didn't answer. She just stood, brushing rain from her jeans. "I should go," she said. "Got more deliveries to miss." He chuckled softly. "Be careful, Maya." "You too," she replied. She walked back to her bike, the rain soaking through her jacket again. As she climbed on, she glanced once over her shoulder. The old man was still there, eating, safe. That was enough. She turned the bike on and rode off into the night, disappearing into the stream of headlights and rain. Across the street, the bakery owner shut his door with a muttered complaint. And at the far end of the block, where the shadows were thicker and the streetlights didn't quite reach, a black SUV sat idling. Its tinted windows reflected the rain like dark glass. Inside, someone had been watching everything. The moment Maya handed over her last meal, the moment she chose kindness, when she had nothing left. The engine hummed softly. Then, without a sound, the SUV pulled away, following the road Maya had just taken. Rain traced slow lines across the windshield as the vehicle glided through the dim Bronx streets, keeping a careful distance. Inside, the world was quiet, insulated from the chaos outside. The hum of the engine, the soft glow of dashboard lights, and the faint tapping of rain created a stillness that felt almost unnatural. In the back seat, a man watched the road ahead, his expression unreadable. He had seen everything: the hesitation, the hunger in her eyes, and the moment she gave it all away anyway. "Replay it," he said calmly. In the front, the driver tapped a screen. Grainy footage appeared, black and white security footage from the bakery across the street. It showed the old man being pushed, then Maya running in, then the moment, the container in her hands, the pause, the choice. The man leaned back slightly, eyes narrowing as he studied the screen. She didn't look around, he murmured, didn't check who was watching, didn't hesitate long enough to make it a performance. No, sir, the driver replied. The man watched the final frame, Maya walking away into the rain, shoulders slightly hunched, like she was carrying more than just the cold. Most people, he said quietly, only give when they think someone is counting. The driver didn't answer. The SUV slowed as it approached an intersection. Ahead, Maya's bike weaved through traffic, her small frame barely visible under the flickering streetlights. She gave away her dinner, the man added. Not leftovers, not extra. Her dinner. The driver glanced at the rearview mirror. What would you like to do, sir? The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked out at the rain-streaked glass, watching as Maya turned onto a narrower street lined with aging brick buildings, the kind where the lights flickered and the rent never quite matched what people could afford. Nothing, he said finally. The driver blinked, surprised. Nothing. Not yet. The SUV continued forward, then slowed, then turned in the opposite direction, back toward the old bus stop. Maya didn't notice. By the time she reached her next delivery address, her fingers were stiff again, her jacket soaked through. The building was a narrow walk-up with peeling paint and a broken intercom that buzzed uselessly when she pressed it. She knocked. A man opened the door halfway, barely looking at her. "You're late," he said. Maya forced a small, polite smile. "I'm sorry, sir." The rain slowed traffic. "I don't care about your excuses," he cut in, snatching the bag from her hands. "You people always got a reason." The words landed heavier than the rain. Maya didn't respond. She just nodded slightly, already stepping back. "Have a good night," she said quietly. The door shut in her face. For a moment, she stood there, staring at the chipped paint, listening to the muffled sound of a television inside. Then she turned, pulling her jacket tighter as she made her way back down the narrow stairs. Outside, the rain had softened to a mist, but the cold had settled deeper. She climbed onto her bike again, her stomach empty now. Back at the bus stop, the old man sat quietly, finishing the last bite of the meal. His hands were steadier now, his breathing calm. Headlights cut through the dark. The black SUV rolled to a stop at the curb. The driver stepped out first, moving quickly around to open the rear door. The man from the back seat stepped onto the wet pavement, his polished shoes untouched by the puddles. The old man looked up. A faint smile touched his lips. "You came late," he said. "I had to see something first," the younger man replied. He walked over, standing just beneath the flickering light of the bus stop. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then the older man gestured toward the empty container beside him. "She gave me everything she had." "I saw," the younger man said. The old man studied his face. "And what do you think?" The man exhaled slowly, glancing down the street where Maya had disappeared. "I think—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "She didn't do it for us, The old man chuckled softly. "No, she didn't." Rain dripped from the edge of the shelter, tapping against the concrete in a steady rhythm. "Most people would have walked away," the younger man added, "or pretended not to see. But she didn't." "No." Silence settled between them again, heavier this time. The old man leaned back slightly, his cane resting across his knees. "She reminded me of someone," he said. The younger man didn't ask who. He already knew. After a moment, he spoke again. "You want me to find her?" The old man smiled, slow and knowing. "I want to see if she's real." The younger man's eyes narrowed slightly. "Real? Kindness like that," the old man said, tapping the empty container lightly, "is either rare or it's hiding something." The younger man looked down at the ground, thoughtful. She didn't look like she was hiding anything. "That's why we test it." A faint tension passed through the air. The younger man straightened, his expression sharpening slightly. "You're serious?" The old man met his gaze. "When was the last time you trusted someone without checking first?" The question hung there, unanswered. Finally, the younger man gave a small nod. "All right," he said. "We'll find her." The old man smiled again, satisfied. "Good," he said softly, "because I have a feeling she's about to change your life." Miles away, Maya rode through the quiet streets, unaware. A bus roared past her, splashing water across the curb. She flinched slightly, but kept going, her focus fixed ahead. She didn't know she had been seen. Didn't know someone was already searching for her. Didn't know that a single act, one meal, given away without a second thought, had set something in motion she couldn't possibly understand yet. All she knew was this. Her stomach was empty. Her body was tired. And tomorrow, she would have to do it all over again. She pedaled harder, disappearing into the night. And somewhere behind her, a decision had already been made. Maya didn't feel it. She didn't hear the quiet shift in the world around her, the unseen doors beginning to open, or the invisible threads starting to pull her life in a different direction. All she felt was the cold creeping deeper into her bones as she rode through the nearly empty streets. By the time she reached her apartment building in Brooklyn, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a damp silence. The streetlights buzzed faintly overhead, casting pale halos on cracked sidewalks and rusted fire escapes. Her building stood tired and worn, like it had given up trying to look decent years ago. Paint peeled from the front door. One of the windows on the second floor was covered in cardboard. The faint smell of old cooking oil and something sour hung in the hallway as she pushed inside. Maya climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Second floor. Third. By the time she reached her door, her fingers were stiff again. She fumbled with the keys for a moment, before finally unlocking it. The room inside was small, too small for dreams, but just enough to survive. A single mattress pushed against the wall, a folding table cluttered with unopened bills, a tiny kitchenette with a flickering overhead light that buzzed louder than it should. Maya stepped in, closed the door behind her, and leaned her back against it. Silence. No music. No TV. No voices. Just her. She let out a long breath and slid down until she was sitting on the floor. For a moment she didn't move, then she laughed softly to herself. "You gave away your dinner," she muttered. "Real smart, Maya." Her stomach answered with a dull ache. She pressed a hand against it, eyes drifting to the table. Bills, stacks of them. She pushed herself up and walked over, flipping through them one by one. Rent, overdue. Electric, final notice. Hospital, past due. Her fingers paused on that last one. The paper felt heavier than the others. She didn't need to open it. She already knew the number printed inside. She'd memorized it weeks ago. Her mother's final days. Machines. Medication. Endless beeping sounds that still echoed in her head when the nights got too quiet. Maya swallowed hard and set the paper back down. "Almost there," she whispered, though she wasn't sure what that meant anymore. A sudden knock on the door made her freeze, sharp, impatient. She didn't move at first. Then it came again. Louder this time. "Maya, I know you're in there." Her shoulders tensed. "Aunt Denise." Maya closed her eyes briefly before standing up and walking to the door. When she opened it, Denise stood there with her arms crossed, lips pressed tight. "Well, look who finally decided to come home," Denise said, stepping inside without waiting to be invited. Maya stepped back, already bracing herself. "I've been working," she said quietly. "Working?" Denise scoffed, glancing around the small room like it offended her. "If this is what your working looks like, you might want to try something else." Maya didn't respond. Denise walked straight to the table, picking up one of the envelopes. "You still haven't paid me," she said, waving it slightly. "I've been more than patient." "I told you I'm trying," Maya said. "I just need a little more time." "Time?" Denise turned sharply, her voice rising. "Time doesn't pay bills, Maya, and I'm not running a charity." Maya's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "It's my mom's stuff," she said. "I just need a little longer before I can—" "I don't care what it is," Denise cut in. "Boxes, clothes, pictures, it's all taking up space in my house." Maya felt something twist inside her chest. "Please," she said softly, "just don't throw it away." Denise watched her for a moment, eyes narrowing slightly. "You've got 3 days," she said finally. "After that, it's gone." The words hit harder than any shout. 3 days. Maya nodded slowly. "Okay." Denise gave a short, satisfied nod and headed for the door. "And Maya," she added, pausing in the doorway, "being nice to people isn't going to save you." The door shut behind her. The room felt smaller after that. Maya stood there for a long time, staring at nothing. Then she turned, grabbed her jacket again, and headed back out. The next morning came too quickly. Gray light filtered through the thin curtains as Maya stood outside a sleek glass building in downtown Brooklyn. People in clean coats and polished shoes moved past her without a second glance. She looked down at her own reflection in the glass. Same jacket. Same worn sneakers. Same tired eyes. She adjusted the folder in her hands and walked inside. The lobby smelled like coffee and fresh paint. A receptionist glanced up briefly, then looked back down at her computer. "Interview," Maya said, forcing confidence into her voice. The receptionist nodded toward a waiting area. "Have a seat." Maya sat. Minutes passed. Then more. She watched as others came and went. Some called in quickly, others leaving with polite smiles. Finally, a man in a tailored suit stepped out and called her name. "Maya Carter?" She stood immediately. "That's me." He gave her a quick, assessing look, then gestured for her to follow. Inside the office, everything was clean. Too clean. Like nothing messy or real was allowed to exist there. "Have a seat," he said. Maya sat, placing her folder on the desk. "I studied design," she began, sliding her work forward. "Jewelry mostly, but The man barely glanced at it. "We're looking for someone with a certain presentation," he said. Maya blinked. "I can do the work. If you just look at the designs—" "It's not just about the work," he interrupted smoothly. "It's about the image." The words were polite, but they landed like a door closing. Maya felt her chest tighten. "I understand," she said quietly. "Do you?" he replied, offering a thin smile. Silence stretched between them. Then he stood. "We'll be in touch." They wouldn't. Maya knew that before she even walked out. Back outside, the city felt louder than before. People rushed past her, voices blending into one constant noise. Somewhere a car horn blared. Somewhere else someone laughed. Maya stood still in the middle of it all, invisible. Again, she looked down at her empty hands. No job. No money. 3 days. Her throat tightened. "Kindness doesn't pay bills," she whispered, echoing her own words from the night before. For a second, something bitter flickered in her chest. Then, her phone rang. She blinked, surprised, and pulled it out. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" A familiar voice came through, softer than before. "My daughter. It is me." Maya's brows drew together slightly. "The old man?" "Yes," he said. I need your help." Her grip on the phone tightened. "Are you okay?" "My chest," he said, his voice unsteady. "Something is wrong. I don't feel well." Maya looked around, her heart starting to race. "Where are you?" "I will send you the address," he said. "Can you come?" She didn't even think about it. "I'm coming," she said. The call ended. A second later, a message came through. An address. Far. Maya stared at it for a moment. Then she looked down at her bike. Then at the time. Then back at the address. 3 days. No job. No money. And yet, she was already moving. Climbing onto the bike. Pedaling hard. Racing into the unknown once again. Because somewhere out there, someone needed her. And for Maya Carter, that had always been enough. The city blurred around her as she rode. Traffic lights shifted from red to green, then back again, but Maya barely registered them. The wind cut against her face as she pedaled harder, weaving between cars, ignoring the ache building in her legs. The address pulsed in her mind. Queens. Farther than she usually went. Farther than she should go, especially with no guaranteed pay, no tip, no reason, except a voice on the phone that sounded like it might disappear if she didn't get there in time. "Hold on," she whispered under her breath. "Just hold on." The streets changed as she crossed into a quieter part of the city. The buildings grew larger, cleaner. The sidewalks less crowded. Even the air felt different, less rushed, more controlled. Maya slowed slightly, glancing at her phone again. Same address. She looked up. The house stood at the end of a long driveway, set back from the street. Not a mansion, but close enough. Old stone walls, tall windows, lights glowing softly behind drawn curtains. Maya hesitated at the gate. This didn't look like where someone like him would live. A homeless man. Alone. Her grip tightened on the handlebars. "Doesn't matter," she muttered. "He called you." She pushed the gate open. It didn't resist. The path curved toward the front door, lined with trimmed hedges and wet leaves that glistened under small ground lights. Her shoes made soft sounds against the stone as she approached. She knocked. Once, then again, louder. "Sir?" she called out. "It's Maya. I came as fast as I could." For a second, nothing happened. Then, the door opened. Maya took a step back. The man standing there wasn't old. He was tall. Early 30s, maybe. Dressed simply. But there was something in the way he held himself, something controlled, sharp. His eyes landed on her instantly. Not surprised, not relieved, just watching. Maya blinked. I'm looking for the old man," she said. "He called me, said he wasn't feeling well." The man didn't answer right away. Instead, he studied her. Rainwater dripped from the edge of her jacket. Her hair clung slightly to her forehead. Her chest rose and fell quickly from the ride. "You came," he said finally. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Of course I came," Maya replied, confused. "Where is he?" The man stepped aside, opening the door wider. "Inside." Maya didn't wait. She moved past him quickly, her eyes scanning the room as she entered. The inside of the house was warm, quiet. A faint scent of wood and something clean lingered in the air. And there, on a large armchair near the fireplace, the old man sat. Comfortable, upright, looking perfectly fine. Maya slowed. Her steps faltered. "Sir?" she said carefully. The old man looked up and smiled. "My daughter," he said warmly. "You came." Maya stopped completely. Something inside her shifted. "You said you were sick," she said slowly. "I was uncomfortable," he replied. "That's not what you said." Silence stretched. The young man behind her stepped forward. "She dropped everything to get here," he said, his tone neutral, but edged with something else. "That counts for something." Maya turned slightly, her eyes narrowing. "What is this?" she asked. The old man leaned forward, resting his hand on his cane. "A question," he said gently. Maya let out a short breath, shaking her head. "A question?" she repeated. "You made me ride across the city in the rain." "For a question, I needed to know," he said. "Know what?" "If you would come back," he answered. Maya stared at him. The anger came quietly. Not loud, not explosive, just a slow burn beneath her ribs. "I already helped you," she said. "Last night." "That wasn't enough?" The old man's expression softened. "It was more than enough," he said. "But kindness is easy once. I needed to see if it was real." Maya looked away, her jaw tightening. "I'm not a test," she said. "No," the young man replied from behind her. "You're not." She turned back to him, then, "Why am I here?" For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. Uncertainty. Or maybe curiosity. "Because people don't usually do what you did," he said. "And when they do, there's usually a reason." Maya let out a small, disbelieving laugh. "A reason," she said. "You think I came all the way out here for some kind of reward?" "I think," he said evenly, "that people don't give things away for free." The words landed harder than they should have. Maya's expression changed. Not angry, not defensive, just tired. "I gave him food," she said quietly, "because he was hungry." She met his gaze directly now. "That's it." The room felt still. The old man watched both of them, silent. The young man studied her again, looking for something, anything. But all he saw was the same thing from the night before. No calculation, no expectation, just honesty. Maya exhaled and stepped back. "You should have told me the truth," she said to the old man. "I would have still come." "I know," he said softly. "Then why lie?" He didn't answer immediately. Because the truth wasn't simple. Because trust, for him, had always come with conditions. Finally, he said, "Because sometimes truth is easier to see when it's tested." Maya shook her head slowly. "That's not how I live," she said. She turned toward the door. "I have to go." The old man's voice stopped her. "Maya." She paused, but didn't turn. "You have a good heart," he said. "And hearts like yours Don't stay unnoticed forever. Maya let out a quiet breath. Yeah, she said. We'll see. She walked to the door, her steps steady, even if something inside her wasn't. As she reached for the handle, the young man spoke again. What do you want? She stopped, turned halfway. What? If someone were to help you, he said, what would you ask for? Maya looked at him for a long moment. Then she shook her head. I wouldn't ask, she said. Why not? Because nothing's free, she replied simply. You said it yourself. The words lingered between them. Then she opened the door and stepped out into the cool evening air. The door closed behind her. Inside, silence filled the room once more. The young man stood still, his eyes fixed on the door she had just walked through. She didn't ask for anything, he said. The old man smiled faintly. That's why she's worth everything. The young man didn't respond, but something inside him shifted. Not enough to trust. Not yet. But enough to wonder. And for someone like him, that was the beginning of everything. The door closed softly behind Maya, the faint click echoing through the quiet hallway. Ethan didn't move. His eyes remained fixed on the space where she had just stood, as if something invisible still lingered there. She didn't even ask for gas money, he said under his breath. The old man chuckled softly from his chair. You expected her to? Ethan turned slowly, his expression sharpening again, the brief moment of uncertainty slipping behind a familiar wall. I expected something, he admitted. Everyone wants something. The old man leaned back, tapping his cane lightly against the floor. Not everyone. Ethan didn't respond immediately. Instead, he walked toward the large window at the far end of the room. Outside, the evening had settled into a quiet calm. The wet pavement reflected the last hints of fading daylight, and in the distance, Maya's small figure moved steadily down the street, pushing her bike now instead of riding it. She's tired, Ethan said. The old man smiled faintly. She's been tired for a long time. Ethan's jaw tightened slightly. And yet she still came, he said. Yes. For someone she barely knows. Yes. For nothing. The old man's eyes softened. That, he said gently, is where you're wrong. Ethan turned back toward him. Then what did she come for? The old man held his gaze. Because she believes it matters. Silence stretched between them. Ethan let out a quiet breath, running a hand through his hair. Belief doesn't survive long where I come from, he said. The old man didn't argue. He didn't need to. He had lived long enough to know that some truths didn't need defending. They revealed themselves. After a moment, Ethan spoke again. We should find out more about her. The old man raised an eyebrow slightly. You mean investigate? I mean understand, Ethan corrected. And what will you do when you understand her? The old man asked. Ethan hesitated. For the first time that evening, he didn't have an immediate answer. Outside, Maya walked faster than she needed to. Her shoes tapped against the pavement, her breath steady but tight. She didn't look back, didn't slow down, didn't let herself think too hard about what had just happened. A test. She let out a short, humorless laugh. Figures, she muttered. People with money had time for things like that. Games, experiments, questions with no real answers. People like her didn't. Her phone buzzed again. Another delivery request. She glanced at it, then accepted without hesitation. Work didn't stop. Neither could she. The next 2 days blurred together. Morning turned into night, then back into morning again. Maya rode through streets she barely remembered, dropping off food to people who rarely looked her in the eye. Some tipped, most didn't. One customer handed her exact change without a word. Another left the door half open, spoke through the gap, and shut it before she could respond. At a red light, a man in a car glanced at her, then locked his doors. Maya noticed. She always noticed, but she never said anything. She just kept moving. On the third morning, the sky was clear, cold but bright. Maya stood outside a small diner, rubbing her hands together as she waited for an order. The smell of coffee drifted through the open door, warm and inviting. She hadn't eaten since the night before. Again. Her phone buzzed. Another message from her aunt. 3 days. Maya swallowed, her chest tightening. "I'm working on it," she whispered, though there was no one there to hear her. Inside the diner, a television played quietly in the corner. News anchors spoke about markets, weather, things that felt far away from her world. She leaned against the wall, closing her eyes for just a second. That's when she heard it. A familiar voice. "My daughter." Maya's eyes snapped open. She turned. The old man stood just a few steps away, dressed the same as before, but cleaner now. His coat looked dry, his posture steadier. "You found me," she said, surprised. He smiled. "I said I would." Maya glanced around instinctively, as if expecting someone else to step out behind him. No one did. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I came to thank you properly," he said. "You already did." "Not enough." Maya shook her head slightly. "You don't owe me anything." The old man studied her face carefully. "That is exactly why I do." Before she could respond, a black sedan pulled up quietly at the curb. Maya noticed it this time. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "You came with that?" she asked. The old man followed her gaze, then chuckled. "I have friends," he said. Maya crossed her arms lightly. "Friends don't usually ride in cars like that," she said. "No," he agreed. "They don't." The car door opened. Ethan stepped out. Dressed differently now. Still simple, but cleaner, sharper, more put together. Maya recognized him immediately. Her expression didn't change. "Oh," she said. "You again?" Ethan nodded once. "Me again." Silence hung between them for a moment. Then the old man stepped forward slightly. "Maya," he said gently, "I would like to make you an offer." Maya blinked. "An offer?" "Yes." She let out a small breath. "I'm not interested in another test," she said. "This isn't a test." It felt like one last time. Ethan stepped closer. "This is different." Maya looked at him. Really looked this time. There was something in his face now that hadn't been there before. Less certainty. More something else. "What kind of offer?" she asked. The old man smiled faintly. "One that could solve your problems." Maya's shoulders tensed. "I don't take handouts," she said immediately. "It's not a handout." "Then what is it?" The old man exchanged a brief glance with Ethan. Then he said it. "Marry my grandson." The words hung in the air. Maya stared at him. Then she laughed. Not loudly, not angrily, just disbelief. "That's not funny," she said. "I'm not joking." Her smile faded. She looked between them. First the old man, then Ethan. "You're serious?" "Yes." Maya shook her head slowly, taking a step back. "No," she said. "No, that's not happening." "You haven't heard the full offer," the old man said calmly. "I don't need to. It would solve your debt," he continued. "Your rent, Your situation with your aunt. Maya froze. Just for a second. Ethan noticed. So did the old man. Everything, he added quietly. Taken care of. Maya's fingers curled slightly at her sides. You've been looking into me, she said. Yes. And you think that gives you the right to… What, buy my life? No, the old man said gently. I think it gives me the chance to change it. Maya's eyes flashed. I don't want my life changed like that. Ethan spoke for the first time. What if it's temporary? Maya turned to him. What? A marriage in name only, he said. An agreement. Nothing more. The words sounded practiced, controlled, safe. But something underneath them felt anything but. Maya studied his face. You don't even know me, she said. I know enough. No, she replied. You don't. Silence fell again. Then, her phone buzzed. She looked down. Another message. Her aunt. Final warning. Maya's breath caught slightly. 3 days. No money. No options. She looked back up at them. At the car. At the opportunity standing in front of her. And for the first time, she didn't walk away. The world seemed to pause around her. The noise of the street, the passing cars, the low hum of the diner behind her. It all faded into something distant, like she was standing inside a moment that didn't quite belong to her life. Maya looked down at her phone again. Her aunt's message still glowed on the screen. Final warning. Her grip tightened slightly before she locked it and slipped it back into her pocket. Then she looked up. At the old man. At Ethan. At the black car waiting quietly at the curb like it had nowhere else to be. You're serious, she said again, but this time her voice was quieter. Yes, the old man replied. Maya exhaled slowly. A marriage, she repeated, almost to herself. To someone I don't know. It would be an agreement, Ethan said. Legal, clear, controlled. Maya let out a faint breath through her nose. Controlled, she echoed. That sounds like something I should trust. Ethan didn't react. He just watched her. I'm not asking you to trust me, he said. I'm asking you to consider a solution. A solution to what? She shot back. Everything you're dealing with. Maya's jaw tightened. You don't know everything I'm dealing with. No, he said calmly, but I know enough. Silence settled between them again. The old man stepped forward slightly, his voice softer now. My daughter, he said, this is not about taking anything from you. It is about giving you a way forward. Maya met his eyes. And what do you get out of it? She asked. The old man smiled faintly. Peace, he said, knowing I chose well. Maya frowned slightly. That's not enough. It is for me. She turned her gaze to Ethan. And you? She asked. What do you get? Ethan held her stare. Nothing I don't already have, he said. That doesn't answer the question. It's not supposed to, he replied. Maya studied him carefully. There was something strange about the way he spoke, like he was holding back pieces of himself, measuring every word before letting it go. You don't even like this idea, she said suddenly. Ethan's expression shifted, just barely. What makes you say that? Because you keep talking like this is a business deal, she said. Not a life. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ethan nodded once. It is a deal, he said. That's the point. Maya let out a slow breath. And when it's over? She asked. Then it ends, he said, cleanly. The simplicity of it should have made it easier. It didn't. Maya looked away, her eyes drifting down the street, watching people move past like none of this existed. Normal life. Normal choices. She almost laughed. Nothing about this is normal, she murmured. No, Ethan agreed. It isn't. The old man tapped his cane lightly against the pavement. You are thinking about your mother, he said gently. Maya froze. Her head turned slowly. How do you know that? She asked, her voice tight. I see it in your eyes, he replied. The way you hold on. Maya swallowed. Images flickered through her mind. Boxes stacked in a corner, old photographs, a worn necklace, her mother's voice fading in a hospital room that smelled too clean. You said everything would be taken care of, she said quietly. Yes. All of it? Yes. Maya looked down again, her fingers curling slightly, as if she could hold on to something solid. And I don't owe you anything after? She asked. The old man smiled. You owe us honesty, he said, and respect for the agreement. Ethan added, That's all. Maya let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. And if I say no? She asked. Then you walk away, Ethan said simply. And nothing changes. Nothing changes. The words echoed louder than anything else. Her rent would still be overdue. Her aunt would still throw everything away. The job rejections, the long nights, the empty stomach. Nothing changes. Maya closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, something in her expression had shifted. Not hope, not relief, just decision. If I do this, she said slowly, there are conditions. Ethan raised an eyebrow slightly. Go on. This is temporary, she said. No pretending it's something else. Agreed. No control over my life, she added. I still work, I still make my own decisions. Agreed. Maya hesitated for a second before continuing. And the money, whatever you use to fix my situation, I pay it back. Ethan frowned slightly. That's not necessary. It is to me, she said firmly. The old man watched her with quiet approval. She has pride, he said softly. Ethan studied her again. You won't be able to pay it back quickly, he said. I didn't say quickly, Maya replied. I said I will. A pause. Then Ethan nodded. Fine. Maya exhaled slowly. And one more thing. Ethan waited. If at any point I feel like this is something else, like I'm being used for something I didn't agree to, she said, her voice steady, I walk away. Ethan met her gaze. You always can, he said. The truth in his voice surprised her, not because she trusted him, but because she believed he meant it. The old man smiled, satisfied. Then it is settled, he said. Maya didn't smile. She didn't feel like celebrating. She just nodded once. Okay, she said. The word felt heavier than it should have, like it carried something she couldn't fully see yet. Ethan stepped back slightly and gestured toward the car. Come on, he said. Where? Maya asked. To make it official. Maya blinked. Today? Yes. That's not how this works, she said. People don't just get married in a few hours. Ethan's expression didn't change. People like us don't, he said. This isn't that. Maya looked between them again, at the calm certainty in their faces, at the car waiting like it had been part of this plan all along. Her chest tightened. This was happening too fast, too suddenly. But then again, so was everything else in her life. She let out a slow breath and nodded. Okay, she said again. This time it felt different. Not like a choice, like a step. And she had no idea what she was stepping into. The ride was quiet. Maya sat in the back of the black SUV, her hands resting stiffly on her knees, her eyes fixed on the rain-streaked window. The city passed by in slow motion, streetlights stretching into gold lines, storefronts blurring into shadows, people moving like ghosts outside the glass. She had never been in a car like this before. Everything inside felt controlled. Soft leather, clean air. No noise except the faint hum of the engine. Ethan sat across from her, not saying a word. Neither did she. The old man had stayed behind. Business to prepare, he had said, with a quiet smile. Maya didn't ask what that meant. She didn't ask anything. Because the more she thought about it, the more unreal it all felt. A marriage. Today. To a man she barely knew. She let out a small breath and leaned her head back slightly, closing her eyes for a moment. You can still say no, Ethan said suddenly. Her eyes opened. She turned to him. What? You can still walk away, he repeated. Nothing's signed yet. Maya studied him. There was no pressure in his voice, no expectation. Just fact. You want me to? She asked. Ethan shook his head once. I want you to understand your options. Maya let out a quiet laugh. Options, she echoed. That's funny. Ethan didn't respond, because he knew she was right. People like her didn't live in a world of options. They lived in a world of consequences. The car slowed. They turned into a quieter street lined with low buildings and closed storefronts. A small office sat at the corner, its sign barely lit. Law office. The SUV stopped. The driver stepped out and opened the door. This is it, Ethan said. Maya hesitated for just a second. Then she stepped out. Inside, the air smelled faintly of paper and coffee. A man in a suit stood behind a desk, already prepared. Documents neatly stacked, pens aligned, everything ready. Too ready. Maya felt her chest tighten again. This was planned, she said quietly. Ethan didn't deny it. Yes. The lawyer gave a polite nod. Ms. Carter, Mr. Walker, please have a seat. Maya sat. Her hands felt colder now than they had outside. The lawyer began speaking, his voice smooth and practiced. This agreement outlines the terms of your marriage. Duration, financial responsibilities, personal boundaries. Everything has been clearly stated. Maya barely heard half of it. Her eyes stayed on the papers in front of her. Her name printed neatly at the top, beside his. She swallowed. Take your time, the lawyer said. Maya reached for the document. Her fingers trembled slightly. She started reading. Temporary. Mutual consent. Financial coverage. No obligation beyond agreement. Clean separation. The words felt clinical. Safe, but also empty. Like something important had been left out. She glanced up at Ethan. You've done this before, she said. No. You talk like you have. Ethan met her gaze. I've done deals before, he said. Not this. Maya held his eyes for a moment longer, then looked back down. Page after page. Everything spelled out. Everything controlled. Everything distant. Her heart beat louder in her chest. This wasn't just paperwork. This was her life, her future, her past, everything she was trying to protect. She thought of the boxes, her mother's voice, the last photograph she hadn't looked at in weeks because it hurt too much. 3 days. No options. Maya picked up the pen. Her hand hovered over the line. For a second, she almost stopped, almost said no, almost walked away. But then she signed. It was over faster than she expected. A few words, a few signatures, a quiet acknowledgement from the lawyer. "That's it?" Maya asked. "That's it," he replied. She blinked. No ceremony, no witnesses beyond strangers, no moment to understand what had just happened. Just done. She stood slowly. Ethan did the same. For a second, they faced each other in silence. "Well," Maya said softly, "I guess that makes us—" She didn't finish the sentence. Ethan didn't either. Instead, he nodded slightly. "Yeah." The word felt incomplete, like something was missing, but neither of them tried to fix it. The next stop surprised her. They didn't go to a mansion, didn't go to a hotel. They stopped in front of a small apartment building. Older, not much better than hers. Maya frowned. "This is yours?" she asked. "For now," Ethan said. She looked at him. "For now?" "It's where I stay," he replied. Something about the way he said it made her pause, but she didn't push, not yet. They walked inside. The hallway was narrow, the lights slightly dim, the air carrying the faint scent of detergent and old wood. Normal. Too normal. Inside the apartment, it was simple. A couch, a small kitchen, a single bedroom. Maya stepped in slowly, looking around. "This is where we live?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "For the duration of the agreement." She let out a breath. "I thought—" She stopped herself. "What?" he asked. She shook her head. "Nothing." She had expected something else, something bigger, something that matched the car, the lawyer, the quiet power behind everything. But this? This felt like her world, not his, and that made her uneasy. Ethan watched her carefully. "You're disappointed," he said. "No," she replied quickly. "I'm confused." "About what?" Maya turned to him. "About you." Ethan held her gaze. "That makes 2 of us," he said quietly. Silence settled between them again. Then Maya moved past him, setting her bag down near the couch. "Okay," she said, more to herself than to him. "We said this was temporary. We said this was simple." Ethan nodded. "Yes." "Then let's keep it that way," she added. "Agreed." Maya took a breath, then another, and slowly. She began to settle into a life that wasn't hers. Not really, but for now it was the only one she had. Morning came too fast. Sunlight slipped through the thin curtains, landing across the small apartment in soft golden lines. For a moment, everything looked almost peaceful. Maya stood in the tiny kitchen, staring down at a pot of boiling water. The sound filled the silence between her and Ethan, who leaned casually against the counter, watching her without saying much. "You don't have to cook," he said. Maya didn't look at him. "I know. You can order food." "I know. Then why?" "Because it's cheaper," she cut in simply. That ended the conversation. Ethan nodded once, accepting it, though something about it lingered in his expression. He wasn't used to this kind of logic, this kind of life. Maya poured the pasta into the water and stirred slowly. You don't have to pretend, she added after a moment. Pretend what? That this is normal for you. Ethan didn't answer right away. It's different, he admitted. Maya gave a small, humorless smile. Yeah, she said. Welcome to my world. Silence followed. But it wasn't as heavy as before. Later that afternoon, Maya stood in front of a mirror that wasn't really meant to be one, just a piece of reflective glass taped unevenly to the wall. She barely recognized herself. The dress she wore didn't belong to her. It was too elegant, too clean, too expensive looking for someone who had spent most of her life counting coins. Ethan stood behind her, adjusting his cufflinks. You look fine, he said. Maya frowned slightly. Fine? She repeated. That's the best you've got? He met her eyes in the reflection. You look like you belong there. She turned to face him. That's the problem, she said quietly. I don't. Ethan didn't respond, because for the first time, he wasn't sure if she was wrong. The gala was nothing like Maya had ever seen. Tall glass doors, bright chandeliers that seemed to float overhead, soft music drifting through the air like it belonged to another world. People moved in polished shoes and tailored suits, their laughter light, their voices controlled. Everything was perfect, too perfect. Maya stepped inside slowly, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She felt every eye turn toward her, even if they didn't. Even if it was all in her head. Stay close, Ethan said quietly. She nodded, but she didn't hold his arm, didn't lean into him. She walked beside him, not behind, not ahead. Beside. It didn't take long. The looks came first, quick glances, then longer ones, then whispers. Maya heard pieces of them as she passed. Who is she? New? Doesn't look like she belongs here. The words didn't hit all at once. They came in small cuts, one after another. Maya kept her face still. She had learned how to do that a long time ago. Near the center of the room, a group of women stood around a table, their dresses shimmering under the lights. One of them turned as Maya approached. Her eyes scanned Maya from head to toe, slowly, deliberately. Well, she said, her voice smooth but sharp underneath. That's new. Maya stopped. Ethan tensed slightly beside her. The woman smiled. Ethan, she said, her tone changing just enough to sound polite. You didn't tell us you were bringing company. Maya felt it. The pause. The word left unsaid. She's with me, Ethan said simply. The woman raised an eyebrow. Clearly. Her eyes returned to Maya. And what exactly do you do? Maya held her gaze. I work, she said. A faint laugh passed through the group. Yes, we all do, the woman replied. But I meant, what kind of work? Maya didn't answer right away, because she already knew. There was no answer that would satisfy them. I deliver food, she said finally. The silence that followed was louder than any insult. Then, oh. One of the women covered her mouth slightly, as if catching herself. How humble, she added. The word wasn't kind. It wasn't meant to be. Maya felt her chest tighten, but she didn't step back, didn't lower her eyes. She stood there, still, steady. Then it escalated. A man approached, holding a glass of champagne, his smile too wide. I heard there's some confusion about a design submission, he said, glancing between Maya and the group. Maya frowned slightly. What? The woman smiled again. "Oh, yes," she said. "There was a piece submitted earlier this week, very similar to one already under review." Maya's heart skipped. "That's not possible," she said. "I haven't submitted anything here." "Interesting," the woman replied, "because your name was mentioned." Maya looked at Ethan. His expression had changed. Not calm anymore. Focused. "What are you saying?" he asked. The man shrugged. "Just that someone might be trying to claim work that isn't theirs." The words landed hard. Maya felt the room shift, the whispers growing louder. She stole it. Of course. Figures. Her hands curled slightly at her sides. "I didn't steal anything," she said, her voice steady but quiet. The woman tilted her head. "Then explain it." Maya opened her mouth, then stopped, because she didn't know what they were talking about, because she had no way to prove anything, because suddenly, she was exactly what they saw her as, out of place, out of line, out of her depth. Ethan stepped forward. "That's enough," he said. But Maya didn't look at him. She was looking at the floor now, at the reflection of the lights beneath her feet, at the way everything seemed so far away. "Why didn't you say anything?" she asked softly. Ethan paused. "What?" "You knew this would happen," she said, finally looking up. "Didn't you?" The silence between them said enough. Maya nodded slowly. "Yeah," she whispered. "I thought so." Her chest tightened. Not from the people. Not from the whispers. But from him. Standing there, watching, knowing, and still letting it happen. She stepped back. "I'm done," she said quietly. Ethan reached out slightly. "Maya." But she shook her head. "No," she said. "I'm not part of this." The music continued. The lights still shined. The people kept watching. But Maya turned and walked away, leaving everything behind her. Again. Outside, the night air hit her like a wave. Cold, sharp, real. She let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. For a moment, she just stood there, alone. Then she started walking, heels in her hand now, bare feet against the cold pavement, one step at a time, away from the lights, away from the voices, away from a world that had never been hers, and maybe never would be. The city felt colder that night. Maya walked without direction, her heels dangling loosely from her fingers, her bare feet stinging against the rough pavement. The distant hum of traffic blurred into a low, endless sound behind her, like the city was breathing without her. She didn't cry. Not yet. Because the hurt hadn't settled into something she could feel clearly. It was still moving, sharp, confusing, heavy in ways she couldn't name. She stopped under a streetlight, its glow faint and flickering. And for the first time since she left, she let herself think. He knew. That was the part that stayed. Not the people laughing. Not the accusations. Not even the humiliation. It was him. Standing there. Watching. Knowing. And saying nothing. Maya let out a shaky breath. "Of course," she whispered. "Of course it was never real." A car pulled up beside her. Quiet. Smooth. Familiar. She didn't turn. "I told you to stay close," Ethan's voice said behind her. Maya closed her eyes briefly. "Yeah," she replied softly. "You did." She turned slowly. He stood there, the city lights reflecting faintly in his eyes. No crowd now, no music, no performance. Just him. You left, he said. I was supposed to stay? She asked. Ethan hesitated. That wasn't what? She cut in. Not what you expected? Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. Ethan stepped closer. That situation got out of hand, he said. Maya let out a quiet laugh. No, she replied. It didn't. It went exactly where it was always going. Ethan frowned. You don't know that. I do, she said, because I've been there before. Silence settled between them. The streetlight buzzed overhead. You could have said something, Maya continued. Just one word. Just one time. Ethan didn't answer. And that was the answer. Maya nodded slowly. Yeah, she said. That's what I thought. She turned to walk away again. Maya, Ethan called after her. She stopped, but she didn't turn around. What? She asked. There was a pause. Then, I didn't say anything because it would have changed everything, he said. Maya let out a slow breath. That's kind of the point, she replied. Ethan stepped closer. No, he said. You don't understand. Maya turned this time. Then explain it, she said. He hesitated. And for the first time since she met him, Ethan Walker didn't look in control. I needed to know who you were without, he started. Without what? She pressed. Without money. Without status. Without knowing who he really was. The words sat unspoken, but Maya heard them anyway. Her expression changed. Not angry, not loud, just something breaking. You were testing me, she said quietly. Ethan didn't deny it. Maya nodded once. Okay. That hurt more than anything else. You watched me struggle, she continued. You watched me get treated like that tonight. And you still didn't think I passed your test? That's not what this is about, Ethan said quickly. Then what is it about? She asked. Silence. Then, Ethan exhaled slowly. I'm not who you think I am, he said. Maya blinked. What? Ethan held her gaze. I'm not just some guy living in a small apartment, he said. Maya frowned. What are you talking about? Ethan hesitated again. Then he said it. I own the company. The words landed in the space between them. Still. Heavy. Maya stared at him. What? The design company, he said. The gala tonight. The people there. He swallowed slightly. I'm the CEO. The world tilted. Just slightly. But enough. Maya let out a soft laugh. Not amused. Not disbelieving. Just empty. You're joking, she said. I'm not. Maya shook her head slowly. No, she said. No, that doesn't. It's true. She took a step back, then another. The pieces started connecting. The car, the lawyer, the way people looked at him, the way they spoke, the silence, the control. Her chest tightened. You lied to me, she said. Ethan didn't respond, because there was nothing to say. You let me believe you were… What? She continued. Struggling? Just like me? I needed to know. Know what? She snapped. If you were real, he said. The words echoed. Maya stared at him, and something inside her cracked open. Real, she repeated. Yes. Her laugh came sharper this time. You married me, she said. You brought me into your life. You let me think we were in the same place." Her voice dropped. "And the whole time, you were watching." Ethan stepped forward. "I wasn't playing with you." "It felt like a game," she said. "It wasn't." "Then what was it?" she asked. Ethan hesitated. "Then, I didn't trust you," he said. Silence. The truth sat there, unprotected, uncomfortable. Maya nodded slowly. "Okay," she said. She looked away for a second, then back at him. "I didn't trust you either," she added. "But I didn't lie about who I was." Ethan's jaw tightened. "That's different." "No," she said. "It's not." Another silence. He stepped closer again. "I was going to tell you," he said. Maya shook her head. "But you didn't." "I just needed more time." "For what?" she asked. "To be sure I wasn't after your money?" Ethan didn't answer. Because again, that was the answer. Maya let out a slow breath. "You don't get it," she said quietly. "I never wanted your money. I know that now." "Do you?" she asked. Her voice softened. "The worst part isn't that you're rich," she said. "It's that you watched me count every dollar and said nothing." Ethan's expression shifted. Pain, regret, something real. But it came too late. Maya stepped back. "I can't do this," she said. Ethan's chest tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this isn't what we agreed to," she replied. "This isn't a deal. This is something else." "We can fix it," he said quickly. Maya shook her head. "No," she said. "You can't fix something that started broken." The words hit harder than anything else that night. Ethan stood still. Maya looked at him one last time. Not angry, not cold, just done. "I want a divorce," she said. The city noise returned all at once. Cars, voices, wind, everything rushing back in. Ethan didn't move, didn't speak, because for the first time, he had nothing left to say. Maya turned and walked away. Not from the gala, not from the people, but from him, from the lie, from everything that had started with a simple act of kindness and ended here, in truth. Too late to change anything, too real to ignore. The night swallowed her whole. Maya walked until the city lights blurred into streaks, until the rhythm of her footsteps was the only thing she could hear clearly. Her hands were cold again, but she barely noticed. Divorce. The word echoed in her mind, heavier than she expected. Not because she loved him, not because she believed in what they had, but because, somewhere along the way, something had started to feel real, and that made it harder. She stopped at a corner, leaning slightly against a metal pole, closing her eyes. "Get it together," she whispered. A bus roared past, shaking the ground beneath her feet. She inhaled slowly, then exhaled, one breath at a time. That's how she survived everything else. This wouldn't be different. The bar wasn't part of her plan. It just happened. A small place tucked between two closed stores, its neon sign flickering unevenly. Music hummed softly from inside, low enough to feel distant, not overwhelming. Maya stood at the entrance for a second, then stepped in. Warm air wrapped around her instantly. The smell of cheap liquor and old wood filled the space. A few people sat scattered across the bar, their conversations low, private. No one looked at her, for once. She didn't mind. She slid onto a stool near the end, resting her elbows lightly on the counter. "What can I get you?" the bartender asked. Maya hesitated. "I don't know," she admitted. The bartender gave a small smile. "First time?" Maya nodded faintly. "Something light," she said. A glass was placed in front of her moments later. She stared at it, then took a small sip. It burned, but not enough to stop her from taking another. Time blurred. The noise softened. The weight in her chest loosened just a little. Maya didn't notice when the seat beside her filled. "Rough night?" The voice was smooth. Too smooth. Maya glanced sideways. A man sat there, leaning casually, his expression easy, friendly. "Something like that," she said. He nodded. "Yeah," he replied. "City does that to people." Maya gave a small, distracted hum. She wasn't really listening. Her thoughts drifted. Back to the gala. Back to his face. Back to the moment everything broke. "You shouldn't be alone this late," the man added. Maya frowned slightly. "I'm fine," she said. "I'm sure you are," he replied. "Just saying. Not everyone out here has good intentions." Maya let out a faint breath. "I can handle myself." "I believe that," he said quickly. Just offering to help. She didn't respond. Didn't need help. Didn't want it. After a moment, she stood. "I should go," she said. The man stood too. "Let me walk you," he offered. Maya shook her head. "No, I'm good." He smiled again. "Come on. It's not safe." "I said I'm good." Her tone sharpened just enough. The man raised his hands slightly. "All right," he said. "No pressure." Maya grabbed her jacket and stepped outside. The cold air hit her again. Sharper this time. She took a step forward, and the world tilted. Just slightly. She frowned. Her vision blurred for a second. "What?" she murmured. Her balance shifted. She reached out for the wall, but her hand missed. Strong arms caught her before she hit the ground. "Easy," the same voice said. Too close now, too familiar. Maya tried to pull away. "I'm fine," she said, but her voice didn't sound like her own. Everything felt slower, heavy. "That drink hit you fast," the man said softly. Maya's mind struggled to catch up. "No," she whispered. "I don't feel right." Her vision darkened at the edges. The streetlights stretched into long, warped lines. A car door opened somewhere nearby. "Let's get you somewhere safe," the man said. Maya tried to move, tried to push him away, but her body didn't respond the way she needed it to. Her fingers barely curled. Her voice barely rose. "No," she whispered again, but it was already too late. Across the city, Ethan stood in the middle of his empty apartment. The silence was unbearable. Her absence louder than anything else. He hadn't followed her, hadn't stopped her. And now he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. His phone buzzed. He picked it up instantly. "Sir," the voice on the other end said. "We lost track of her signal about 20 minutes ago." Ethan's expression darkened. "Lost?" he repeated. "Yes, sir. Her phone hasn't moved since." A cold weight settled in his chest. "Location," he said. A pause. Then, a bar in Brooklyn. After that, nothing. Ethan didn't think, didn't hesitate. "Find her," he said, his voice low and sharp. "Now." The room was dark, too dark. Maya's head throbbed as she slowly came back to awareness. Her body felt heavy, her hands restricted. She blinked slowly. Shapes formed. Walls. A chair. Her breath caught. She tried to move. Couldn't. Panic flickered in her chest. "Hello?" she called out weakly. No answer. Her heart started to race. "What is this?" she whispered. A door creaked open. Light spilled in from the hallway. Two figures stepped inside. Maya squinted, trying to focus. One of them stepped closer. And then she recognized the voice. "You should have stayed in your place," it said. Maya's stomach dropped. "You," she breathed. The woman smiled faintly. Cold. Satisfied. "Yes," she said. "Me." Maya's mind struggled to piece it together. The gala. The whispers. The humiliation. "You think this is about you?" the woman continued softly. "You're just convenient." Maya swallowed hard. "What do you want?" she asked. The woman tilted her head slightly. "Simple," she said. "We need him to make a choice." Maya's chest tightened. "Him?" "Ethan," the woman said. The name hit like a shock. Maya's pulse quickened. "What does that have to do with me?" The woman smiled again. "Everything." Miles away, Ethan stood in front of a wall of screens. Maps, signals, locations. His team moved quickly around him, voices low but urgent. "Sir, we have a trace." Ethan stepped forward. "Where?" "An old warehouse district," the man replied. "Signal interference. Someone didn't want her found easily." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Get the car ready." "Yes, sir." Ethan grabbed his coat, his mind racing, his chest tight. One thought louder than all the others. She was in danger. And this time, it wasn't a test. This time, if he didn't get there in time, he might lose her for real. The engine roared as the SUV tore through the night. Streetlights flashed across Ethan's face in sharp streaks of gold and shadow. His jaw clenched, his eyes locked ahead. The city that once felt controlled, predictable, now felt like a maze he couldn't move through fast enough. "Faster," he said. "We're already pushing it, sir," the driver replied. "Then push harder." The car surged forward. Inside, Ethan's mind raced faster than the engine. Every moment replayed. Her walking away, her voice. "I want a divorce." The words burned deeper now, not because of pride, not because of control, but because he had finally realized what he was about to lose. Not a contract, not a deal, her. The warehouse district loomed ahead. Dark, empty. Rows of abandoned buildings lined the street, their broken windows reflecting nothing but shadows. The kind of place where things disappeared and stayed that way. The SUV came to a sharp stop. Ethan was already out of the car before it fully settled. "Stay back," one of his men said. Ethan didn't even look at him. "Find her," he said. "Now." They moved quickly, splitting, checking doors, scanning the area. A faint light flickered from one of the buildings near the end of the block. Ethan didn't wait. He headed straight for it. Inside, the air was cold and stale. Dust floated in the faint beam of light from a hanging bulb, swaying slightly overhead. Maya sat in the chair, her wrists bound, her breathing uneven but steady. Her eyes lifted slowly as the door creaked open. And for a second, she thought she was imagining it. Ethan stood in the doorway, framed by light. Real. Her chest tightened. "You came," she whispered. Ethan didn't speak. didn't hesitate. He crossed the room in a few quick steps, dropping to his knees in front of her, his hands already working at the ropes. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Maya shook her head slightly. "I'm okay," she said. "Just dizzy." The ropes loosened, fell away. Her hands dropped into her lap, weak but free. Ethan reached for her, then stopped, like he wasn't sure if he still had the right. Maya noticed, and for a second, neither of them moved. Then, she leaned forward, just enough, and he caught her. Footsteps echoed behind them, slow, confident. "Well," a voice said, "that was quicker than I expected." Ethan's expression hardened instantly. He turned. The woman stepped into the light. Elegant, controlled. The same cold smile from the gala. "I told you," she said softly. "He would come." Maya's stomach tightened. "You did this," she said. The woman tilted her head. "Not for you," she replied. "You're just the leverage." Ethan stood slowly, placing himself between them. "This ends now," he said. The woman laughed lightly. "It already has," she replied. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "What do you want?" The answer came without hesitation. "You," she said. Silence. Then, publicly, she added, "in front of everyone, you will announce our engagement." Maya's breath caught. Ethan didn't react. His voice stayed calm. "No." The woman smiled. "You don't get to say no." "I just did." Her expression tightened slightly. "You think you have a choice?" she asked. Ethan stepped forward. "You made a mistake," he said quietly. "And what's that?" she replied. "You thought I would trade her for anything." The words landed heavier than anything else in the room. Maya looked at him. Really looked. And something shifted again. The woman's smile faded. "Careful," she said. "You're in no position to make threats." Ethan didn't blink. "I'm not threatening you," he said. "I'm ending this." He reached into his coat, pulled out his phone, and dialed. The room held its breath. "What are you doing?" she asked. Ethan didn't look at her. "Watch," he said. Minutes later, screens across the city lit up. Phones buzzed. News alerts flashed. A live press conference. Ethan Walker, standing at a podium, alone, his voice steady. "I have an announcement," he said. Back in the warehouse, the woman's expression shifted. "What is this?" she whispered. Maya stared at the screen, confused, heart racing. Ethan's voice continued. "I am married." The words echoed. Clear, unshakable. "My wife's name is Maya Carter." Maya's breath caught. The room felt smaller, louder, everything at once. Ethan continued. "I want it on record. Everywhere. Official. Permanent." The woman stepped forward. "No." "And as of tonight," Ethan said, his voice unwavering, "everything I own, every asset, every company, every holding, is transferred to her name." Silence. Absolute. The woman stared at the screen. "No," she whispered again. "That's not—" But it was. The truth settled like a weight no one could move. Ethan lowered the phone, met her eyes. "You wanted the position," he said quietly. "The name, the power." He gestured toward the screen. "Now it's hers." The woman's control cracked. "You're insane," she said. "No," Ethan replied. "I'm done." Sirens echoed in the distance, growing louder, closer. The woman took a step back, then another. "This isn't over," she said, but her voice didn't carry the same certainty anymore. Ethan didn't respond, because for the first time, she had nothing left to take. Moments later, the door burst open. Authorities rushed in. Voices filled the space. Orders, movement, everything shifting fast. But Ethan didn't move, didn't look away, because Maya was still there, still standing, still real. He turned back to her slowly. "I'm sorry," he said. The words were quiet, honest. Too late, but real. Maya looked at him, at everything he had just done, at everything he had risked. Her voice came softly. "You gave up everything." Ethan shook his head. "No," he said. "I gave it to the right person." Silence settled between them again. But this time, it wasn't cold. It wasn't broken. It was something else. Something unfinished. And maybe something that still had a chance to be rebuilt. The night slowly faded into morning. By the time Maya stepped out of the warehouse, the sky had begun to lighten, soft gray clouds stretching across the horizon. The city was waking up again. Cars moving, people rushing, life continuing like nothing had happened. But for her, everything had changed. An ambulance sat nearby, lights dim now. The urgency passed. One of the medics checked her vitals again, shining a small light into her eyes. "You're going to be okay," he said gently. "Just rest. Drink water. No more surprises tonight." Maya nodded faintly. No more surprises. She almost smiled at that. Behind her, voices moved. Officers talking, people being led away. The quiet end of something that had started with control and ended in collapse. Ethan stood a few feet away, still, watching her, not stepping closer, not assuming anything, just there. Maya noticed. Of course she did. She had always noticed the small things. Hours later, the city felt different, quieter, slower. Or maybe it was just her. She sat on a bench outside a small community kitchen in Brooklyn, a paper cup of coffee warming her hands. The sun had finally broken through the clouds, casting soft light across the street. Inside, volunteers moved back and forth, preparing meals. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the open door. It reminded her of that night. The bus stop, the rain, the choice. Maya stared into her coffee. "Funny," she murmured. "What is?" She looked up. Ethan stood there. No suit, no control, just him. She didn't seem surprised. "You always show up when I'm thinking too much," she said. Ethan gave a faint smile. "I can leave." Maya shook her head. "No," she said softly. "You can stay." He sat beside her. "Careful. Not too close, not too far." They watched the street for a moment in silence. Then Maya spoke. "I didn't do it for you," she said. "I know. I didn't even know you existed." "I know." She nodded slightly. "I just saw someone who needed help." Ethan looked at her. "That's what I saw too," he said. Maya let out a quiet breath. "You changed everything," she added. Ethan shook his head. "No," he said. "You did." She turned to him. "You gave it all away," he continued. "Before you had anything to give." Maya didn't respond, because that part had never felt special to her. It just felt right. A group of children ran past them, laughing, their voices bright against the morning air. One of them waved at Maya. "Miss Maya!" She smiled. Hey! They disappeared inside the kitchen. Ethan watched them. You come here a lot? He asked. Used to, she said. Before everything got heavy. He nodded. You're still going to, he said. Maya looked at him. Am I? Yes. She studied his face. Even now? She asked. After everything? Especially now, he replied. Maya looked away again. At the street. At the people. At the life that had never stopped moving, even when hers felt like it had. You gave everything away last night, she said after a moment. Ethan leaned back slightly. Not everything. Pretty close. He shook his head. I gave it to someone who wouldn't waste it. Maya frowned slightly. You don't even know what I'm going to do with it. Ethan smiled faintly. I do. She raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? Yeah. How? Because I've seen you when no one was watching. The words settled between them. Warm. Steady. Maya felt something shift again. Not as sharp as before. Not as painful. Just softer. Later that day, the news spread. Headlines, interviews, speculation. The story moved fast, faster than either of them could control. A billionaire transferring everything to a woman no one had heard of. A marriage no one expected. A decision no one understood. But Maya didn't read it. Didn't watch it. Because she already knew the truth. And it wasn't about money. A few days passed. Then a week. The world adjusted. So did she. Maya stood inside a small office, papers spread across the desk, her handwriting steady as she signed her name. Are you sure about this? The lawyer asked. Yes, she said. You're allocating a significant portion. I know. For community programs, food services, training. I know, she repeated. The lawyer nodded slowly. Then it's done. Maya exhaled. Done. But this time, it didn't feel like something ending. It felt like something beginning. That evening, she returned to the same bus stop, the one from that night. The bench was still there, the light still flickering, the city still moving around it. Maya sat down slowly, looking at the space beside her. For a moment, she imagined it again. The old man, the food, the choice, huh? A quiet voice broke the silence. My daughter. She smiled before she even turned. You're late, she said. The old man chuckled as he lowered himself onto the bench beside her. I had to see something first, he replied. Maya shook her head, amused. Still testing people? Not anymore, he said. She glanced at him. No. He looked at her carefully. I already found what I was looking for. Maya didn't respond, because she didn't need to. Footsteps approached. Ethan. He stopped a few feet away. Am I interrupting? He asked. Always, Maya replied lightly. But she smiled. And this time, it reached her eyes. Ethan stepped closer. Slower now, more careful. I wanted to ask you something, he said. Maya tilted her head. What? He hesitated. Just for a second. Then, will you choose me? He asked. Not as part of a deal, he added. Not as a contract. Maya studied him. Longer this time. Then she smiled again. Soft. Real. I already did, she said. The old man laughed quietly. I told you, he muttered. The city moved around them, cars passing, lights flickering, life continuing. But for the first time, Maya wasn't just surviving it. She was part of it. And the choice she made that night, the one that cost her everything, had given her something she never expected. Not money, not power, not status, but something better, something real. She gave her last meal to a stranger, and in return, she found a life she didn't have to fight alone anymore. And maybe that was what she deserved all along. The night Maya Carter gave away her last meal at that flickering Bronx bus stop, she wasn't trying to change her life. She was just trying to do what felt right. And in the end, that single moment of quiet courage brought her everything she never asked for. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is choose kindness when it costs you something, because that's when it's real. And even when the world misunderstands you, what you do in those unseen moments still has the power to come back in ways you never imagined. So next time you're walking past someone in need, don't overthink it. Just pause, just like Maya did, and do one small thing that feels human. You may never see the result, but that doesn't mean it won't change something bigger. If this story touched you, comment one below and tell me, have you ever helped someone without knowing what came next? Stay with me, because the next story might just change the way you see people forever.